everybody, just want to do a quick update today on my Musty Wargamers Oldhammer challenge, and then just a quick table update and sort of things to come, and also announcement as a reminder of tomorrow's Musty Wargamers chat. I've finished my second squad and Farseer for the Musty Oldhammer challenge. So I was looking at doing this in September and started a little late, so I still have a couple of models that I'm going to be doing in the beginning of October here now. These shouldn't take me very long, and I am really looking forward to it. I sort of saved them for last because I really like them. I'll talk about that in a moment. And I also have update just on my 3D printer that I've mentioned in a couple of spots that I've gotten into. I'm going to do a bit more of a dedicated talk on 3D printing, why I got into it, and talk about my progress a little bit on that. But I have a little bit of a progress update just in the very beginning on that today. I am not going to do a turnaround today. I'll probably do a display when I finish the challenge. I did one for the first group, but I am happy with the Farseer, with how he came out. I did him a little differently in the sense of the primary color is sort of blue on most of these guys for this faction. But I did the Farseer in the secondary color purple as the primary. And of course, my Farseer is a bit of a renegade Farseer. You know, he's sort of like, he's hooked up with this Crimson Command and said, you know what, for whatever reason, I'm going to saddle up with these pirates. And maybe the Farseer has been corrupted in some way in his thinking, or her thinking. There's a helmet on, who knows. And they're using their vast wisdom and knowledge as a sort of psychic wizard for ill-gotten gain, I guess. And so they allow the tiger stripes on their sword, just like the captains or the exarchs, you know, whatever you want to call them, the unit leaders have them on their helmets. That's that sort of accent. But I'm happy with the way the helmet came out because I find the helmet to be a bit of a defining feature. I like the highlighting. I think came out nice. And so yeah, I have these guys here. Like there is the captain that I have. I just did really 2 exarchs or unit leaders for each group. This one has their helmet off and just sort of hanging behind them. I did a little bit of effects on the muzzle of this mega flamer that's being held. I gave this one a blue mohawk, matching the group a bit more. And I think I went for sort of, outside of, each group has a bit of a wild mohawk. Just yellow and brown hair on these other guys. My favorite miniature in these old ones here, for whatever reason, I just really like this one. It's a heavy weapons Eldar. And I really thought it looked cool. I love the designs they use. There's 2 things that I really like in these units, because some of them have sort of like the precursor to Space Marine boots. Some of them have regular feet. You'll see, like, let's say this one right here, just regular foot. And then, now these ones have these like lobed design effects around. It's almost like this one's wearing power armor, like a really significant power armor when you look at it. I mean, it's like a Space Marine in some ways. And so this is like an Eldar that's really beefed out in power armor with a heavy weapon, which I think is really sweet. I like it. You don't really see that so much. I mean, like Dark Reapers, and there are like definitely things that are heavier in the later editions of Eldar in their design style. I think this is a bit of a precursor in some ways to that. These guys have like boots like Space Marines in some ways. They're just really large boots on the bottom. And I think that's kind of cool. I just like that. You can ask how realistic that would be, but they're also in space, right? And so it's really hard to say what you would need for their purposes. But so next up, I'll probably be doing some banners and things too, but it's going to be these two dreadnoughts. I know Rusty and I had a little bit of a side discussion. I was really surprised because these aren't his favorite models, and which is fine. Like, everybody can have, like, within the range, their own favorites. But I really love the dreadnought, and the old dreadnoughts in particular. Part of it is the first time I ever played 40k, my opponent had a dreadnought, and they played Eldar. And I remember just seeing it, just how alien it looked, and it does have like a bit of a Robotech-esque feel about it. But I just love the alienness, sort of like the Marauder from BattleTech. But then also, in really analyzing it further, I think one of the reasons why I really like the model is just this early design of the hand. And they lose this in the later models. They don't look nearly as good. As far as I'm concerned, the hands have never looked good on the Wraith Lords as compared to these early dreadnoughts. I just think they're just so cool looking. They just shrunk them and made them very generic looking. But these just look like it could grab like one of these guys and crush him. And the design, the sculpting is really nice. I think that the hand and the arm is probably my favorite bit on the entire model. I really like it. And so I think they've, like, definitely this is more smooth and just big in the head and just less defined than like later when they do the Wraith Lord. But I don't know. I really love these old ones, and I think part of it is that the hands, and they have like the weapons integrated. And there's I believe there's a flamer and a shuriken version. There is actually, because I have them. When I purchased these, I was a lot keener on what was going on than I am now. See, I already forgot that, but there is. Let's see how I can. I think I've showed this one. That's the shuriken catapult, and then this one here is flamer. And so, sorry, my lighting isn't the greatest here, but that's the flamer, essentially flamethrower. So there's two hand designs. Thankfully, I knew what I was doing, and I got the right ones on both hands. But the arms are different for each one as well. Like these ones, this is just longer, like in kind of, you could shoot it out straight. These ones, the arms are bent more. So I've got flamers with missile launcher, scatter laser with a shuriken catapult on one side. There are names for these. I think this one is the Banshee. This one I don't remember. I have to look it up. I think the War Demon or the Demon is the one that has two arms. I'll likely get another one that's just like to have one of each example. Typically the one that's like this has a bright lance on one side, but I have it with the scatter laser. So yeah, excited about that. It'll be fun to paint these up. I think what I'm going to do is paint one. They're both going to be this color scheme, but one's going to be dominant blue and one's going to be dominant purple with tiger stripes. And yeah, I'm going to do something like that. Trying to make these guys really different than what I've done with my prior Eldar, and just in this case for this sort of group. My Space Elf Warband. So, happy with that, how it's come. And yeah, it's been pretty successful Oldhammer challenge. I mean, it's been a month, but, or yeah, a month I suppose. But yeah, getting I don't know, around 25 miniatures, not including the dreadnoughts done. That works for me. That's a nice dent into my Eldar collection of Oldhammer stuff. I wanted to show my first print that I've done. I realize this is really bright. It's a white filament that comes with it, but this is, I didn't print this because I needed a tugboat, but for those of you that aren't into 3D printing, this is a really common print. It's called a 3D Benchy. It's like a benchmark print to show how your printing is going, like, like to be able to understand how your print is working. And I think this one came out pretty good. I mean, I use this on what they call draft quality with the settings that came with it, so it's not at the actual highest level of quality. It actually took about a little over an hour to print this at the lower, oh, maybe call it mid quality, because there are lower settings than this. Overall, I actually think it came out quite nice. The ridges on the top here I thought were unintentional, but they're actually intentional. It's like a bit of a graded roof, like an aluminum roof kind of thing for this little tugboat. There are some imperfections here. All of this can be sanded pretty easily, so that part I'm not too concerned about. Like, you could easily rub that momentarily off. I won't, because I'm using this more as really just an example of how it's working. So there you can see a little imperfection on the side. There's a thing called stringing that happened in the very top. I used a hobby knife and I did sort of pull that out a little bit. There you can still see the stringing a little bit. But it's printed the little wheel in the wheelhouse. And overall, there's virtually, other than taking a little hobby knife and pulling a little bit of string, which I think I've thrown out, but just a little bit of string in the top. It actually came out pretty good. This is for my first print. It's actually, I think, pretty nice. I was thinking about doing one more on the higher level quality just to compare the two, and then getting into my printing that I want to do. And I'll probably, still just use this white filament. I do have some extra filament that I bought as well. And so that's kind of interesting for me. I had a little bit of hiccups. I'm going to talk about the 3D printing later. There was nothing major as far as hiccups, but there's definitely some troubleshooting, and it wasn't just a pull out of the box and get going. But I'll just scale back here a little bit and just show the printer real quick on my table. So I've got this printer where I used to keep my paints right on my desk. And so yeah, I'm showing my dirty laundry here, but this is where I'm kind of doing my heresy hump days, and I still have a little bit of a hobby area right here and computer area, but then really I have pretty much what I need. This spot right here is for when I'm not painting in other areas of the house on my painting tray. I do have essentially my painting area right here that I can use, and so I've got a visitor. My wife's actually joining me here now. What can I do for you? Okay, here we go.
Does it work?
Okay, thanks. Sorry about that. And so, yeah. And so, yeah, I think that's about it on that note. I hope you guys are doing well. Just want to let you know that there's a Musty Wargamers happening over at Hellcorex's channel. I'm not going to put the link below because I've done that a number of times. Hellcorex usually comments on my videos, so if it's not on this video, you'll see that he's commented on the video before it. We comment, typically interact in each other's channel quite a bit, so not hard to find. And so Rusty will have the show. And we have two interesting topics this week. One of them is essentially painting in order to game as your motivation. And so just painting armies that you're sort of locked in on, that you've chosen, and like just painting your armies for your battles on your table. Or painting for other reasons, whether it be diorama to help improve your skills, and just because you want to paint something different, etc. Like just sort of a discussion about that and time dedicated to each. And the other one is about dice mechanics, and the idea of using different kinds of dice, D10s, D6s, D20s, and the kinds of games that they are in, and what it affords you differently in different games to have different kinds of dice to use in your dice games. And so I thought those are two good topics we came up with for this week. So please join us 8 Central 7 Mountain tomorrow if you'd like, live. Otherwise, catch it later afterwards when we upload it, and Rusty will have that on his channel. And until then, take care, everybody.